It's TMNT time! Hello, welcome to another figure review. Today we're going to have a look at the Neca Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles X Universal Monsters. It's Raphael as Frankensteins Monster. This is a new line from Neca featuring the Turtles as monsters, which is based on the original toys, but this is like a reimagining. New sculpts and like modernized, super highly detailed. We had a look at the box already. You got the Universal Monsters logo on there and some writing in the back, like kind of looking like an old school monster movie poster. And also classic Neca has the window box. If you just want to display the figures in the box, you can. If I can open this. The figure on this side, a picture of it, and the actual figure on the other side. So let's have a look at this monster. He's big and beautiful. Well, ugly, but beautiful in its own way. A little over 18 centimeters to the top of his head, which means we are going up to 7.2 inches tall. Size comparisons. Here's Jolter, Neca, Michelangelo, Super 7 Raph, the original Playmates toy Frankenstein, and Darkseid. I want to go back to the Playmates toy real quick because yes, that was in fact Michelangelo and not Rav as Frankenstein's monster. And yes, I mean it definitely has some ideas from that, but it's entirely its own beast in a lot of aspects. But it's cool to see this side by side, the classic and the new beasts. This figure is amazing. First of all, huge props to the mold in general. It looks gruesome and it reflects the idea of having a turtle mashed up with Frankenstein's monsters oh so well. It has obviously the turtle hat, but somewhat of the top hat form of the monster with all kinds of staples all throughout it. You got the hair sculpt, which does have some nice detail, fairly flat on the top. And then the face, just like, yeah, he looks like a brainless mutant monster. Very small eyes, but highly detailed also. And the teeth are shiny because they are covered in a finish that like makes it gruesome looking, but also a bit shiny. Maybe a little bit too much for my liking. Nah, that's nitpicking, honestly. It's kind of weird though because it does stand out from the rest of the figure because it's all fairly dark. The molding. I just want to talk about the molding real quick. You all have all this amphibian style molding going on throughout all the skin because of course it's a turtle, and to make it look even more ugly and also realistic in a way, I guess, that you got that all over. We got some more staples in the neck and also the bolts sticking out of it. And then the shell is a piece of art on its own. It's cut up in a bunch of places and trying to fix it in a very monster way with a sewer lid just kind of stapled on the side. And you have these all kind of covered on the back, and you got also one in the front. And the handles. I don't really know what's up with the handles. Did Frankenstein's Monster really have that many handles? Because there's more of that. I have the tubes going in the front. Got another one of these gauges. And also, as you can tell, this figure is just covered in dry brushing, which gives it this gritty, dark look all over the place. The suit ripped up, has tons of detail molded in it, and really elevated oh so much due to the paint job. I love it. Real chain which wraps around the entire figure and also has the same dry brushing effect on it to make it look old and dirty. The only problem, not really a problem, but it's kind of annoying if you move the figure around, the chain is not connected anywhere. It's held up by the handle in the back and it just kind of rests in the front, but if that goes down it just falls and might get caught up in some of the joints, so be careful with that. But it looks cool, definitely. You have a patch on the side over here, and then obviously you got still the armbands and some more scars and staples in the hand, also on the other side. It's done in like a little bit of a different way. It doesn't copy paste the sides of the hands, which is cool. Also, you don't have the patch on this side, so you know there's detail everywhere you go. The buttons are nicely painted, and then you have still part of the shell peeking out on the lower half as we move down to the pants, all kind of stapled up as well, which is weird. Staples in the pants, wow. More knee pads, those are fairly basic. The only thing I see, like, you have the bolts in this one. Why didn't you add more bolts to these ones? I'm just kidding. I also like the fingernails, look at how dirty they look. Beautiful. Dirty, but beautiful. And the big plateau shoes with some more bolts in his ankles. Yeah, from top to bottom, this looks amazing. For your articulation, you got the head, which has a little bit of back and forth, does tilt side to side, and it would go all the way around, but it's really stiff at the back end, so don't force it too much. But it's pretty decent. Then you have also neck articulation. Combined with that, moves forward quite a bit to the back, gets blocked by the shell, and does also tilt side to side. Shoulder articulation, you have the big hinge in there, so you can move up like that and also rotate it in there. And it does have a little bit of wiggle room. That's not really intentional because it's just packed in, but you do have just the tiniest bit of it. For your elbow, it does move up, and it is double hinged. However, it doesn't really work due to the big elbow pads. Even though it's soft plastic and you can move it up, but it never really gets all the way up enough so you can get the full range of that. Well, if you want to remove it and play around with it, you could. So then you have the hinge in the hand, which this one is frozen, I think. Let me see the other one. Yep, goes forward to the back, swivels, and the entire chest area, by the way, is soft plastic. I don't know if there's anything under there, but I'm just gonna try and move it forward. I think it's just the hips though, which are just limited by the coat, which like I'm saying, soft plastic, so it doesn't get in the way. It can't really, I have a little bit of rotation in the hips, but obviously it's blocked in the back due to the shell, but it's still okay. Wiggles side to side, and then there's the chains getting in the way. As I was saying, the more you play around with it, the more you move around, this will get into your way, so be careful with that. The legs also fairly wobbly. It's like the only complaint recently I have with Neca. If they really can tighten their leg joints, it's gonna be a whole lot better. I'm just probably gonna have to do it myself. Moves forward nicely enough to the side and also to the back, not really because of the shell. Can rotate it, add it, and then you have the double hinge knee. Same thing as for the elbow joints. They would go up a bit higher, well, probably a lot higher if it weren't for the knee pads. And then you also have the foot, which does have the big hinge in there, moves back and forth, does have a wonderful pivot, and that wraps up your articulation. For accessories, you don't really get that much, but I'm used to that with getting big figures. You have the size, which are formed like lightning bolts, which look very cool. Also have the same kind of dry brushing as the rest of the figure. And then you have the classic fist hands and these open holding hands for the size, which do also have a tiny bit of room to get the size through it, but it doesn't really work unless, okay, I'm not, did you hear that already? I'm not gonna. See, the size are also hard plastic, which also still fairly thin and sharp, so you might break it off if you try to force it through that. Definitely recommend heating this up before you even go for that. I'm honestly too scared because this whole, I mean, it's cool to give you the option so you can have the side kind of displayed as he just kind of grabs it like that. That's probably what that was for, but I think it's too dangerous. Final thoughts, and I thought of something. Maybe the handle in the back is to kind of recreate the space they had in their belts for the classic toys. Because the hands in the front, I just remembered, are actually to hold on to the sides. You can slide that right in there. And there you go. But anyway, final thoughts for this figure. Oh my god, it's amazing. This piece of work is so good, so well done. I love the idea of bringing back the crossover with the Turtles and the Universal Monsters, and then doing the entire lineup. You got like also Mummy and Leonardo as like the Hunchback, and April's coming back as the Bride of Frankenstein. Actually has the face sculpt, which is based on Judith Hoag from the movie, which is, oh my god, it's a crossover on top of a crossover. Bruh, bigger Big Mac. But anyway, yeah, this figure is amazing on itself. The mold is great, the paint job is exquisite. You don't really get that many accessories, but you don't really need that many accessories at the price point. Everything is very fair in my estimation, and the only kind of sort of downside is a bit of the wobbly legs, which do still hold a pose, as you can tell, but also a little bit limited in the articulation department because of the knee and elbow pads. But again, that's part of the design, and I love it because I'm one of the guys where I'm saying if you're gonna sacrifice a little bit of articulation range to make a really, really amazing looking figure, I'm fine. I'm not even mad about that. So, highly, absolutely recommend it. That's gonna do it, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, card game stuff, and whatever Raph as Frankenstein's Monster wants.